Good afternoon. It's been an absolute beautiful day here in Port Elliot, South Australia. I'm Ros Boundy, the founder of Boomer Press, which is why I'm here. I'm enjoying planning for you or presenting for you the Boomer Press book Nook. And that goes back to, I am aware there's quite a few bookstores that are probably around called book nooks. I had a part of a shop area way back in 2004, 2005, 2006 at Harndorf when I was part of the Kindred Spirits business there, and I had what was the section of the store that was the book nook. So I decided that I'd use that name now because I'm gradually moving into having one of those dreams come true as far as I'm writing myself and creating some books. It's a very slow process, nothing wrong with that. But I'm doing it now, and I want to share with you that story as we move along so that it's encouraging you to write your stories so that you are bringing forward what you know of your life, how you understand what you do in your life, and bring it forward for others to be able to share it and read it and understand more fully some of what your life purpose might be. Some of what, sometimes our journey is pretty well hidden and we don't want to talk about it, but it can be helpful for others, and that's one of the reasons why I'm really enjoying bringing it to you in an effort to have you write your story, share your story. Are you wanting to leave some of your family with a bit of a legacy of who you are, how you want to be remembered? Unless you write down some of what you're wanting to be remembered as, they're just going to be on a guessing game, aren't they? It's going to be potluck as to how they understand you as your personality and some of the whys behind how you've done what you've done in your life, and some of the situations that can crop up as part of life's journey as to why and how you've struggled through it, if it's, life-changing situations, which can be, very much a helpful aspect for other people to see and understand what might be possible for themselves. And I'm thinking of journeys that people sometimes have with cancer and the different stories around that. Traumatic events that change their lives, near-death experiences. I've read some wonderful books around near-death experiences, and certainly there is there's a whole heap of things that are going to be able to be told like that's from your perspective of what you're wanting to present as your story. And that's why I've started doing Boomer Press, and also bringing this to you as far as the book nook. I'm going to say hi to Kenneth because you've joined again you're in Ontario, Canada. Lovely to see you this evening. It would be for you. No, hang on. What is it for you? Morning, early morning, because we're here at 5:36 p.m. On a lovely Monday afternoon. Are you in your early hours of this morning? On a Monday, or still the rest of the Sunday? It's lovely to know. And Lee, good afternoon to you. I'm so used to doing these in the morning, aren't I? I'm still getting used to doing the evening one as well. But this is for the different purpose, different aspect of one of the other things that I do. I'm really loving the focus on writing and being able to help others to create your stories. I'm only at the beginnings of my journey with this as well. And I can remember many years ago, this was as far as with other training that I've done, that one of the things is that you can do the best learning by teaching what you know, so that you're increasingly gathering momentum of being in front of the students, like ahead of them, with expansion of your own knowledge to help others with what you already know, but expanding on that so that there's growth in both ways. I love it. So I'll probably be perpetual student till the day I die. And Kenneth, you've shared it. Oh, thank you very much. That's lovely to share this as well, because it is a different aspect of what I do, this one. It's 2 a.m. on December the 9th, so it is your Monday morning. Wow, that's dedication. Lovely to have you aboard. Thank you. Now, I am going to do what I have been in the previous episodes of this book, Nook. I'm concentrating more so on the memoir and going through some of the steps to get you writing and keep writing those memories down in the potential use of it being for a memoir. Now, we haven't got to that part yet because we're still doing some of the gathering. So I'm going to share the screen so that you can see that the tool that we have been using. Oh, I've changed that over to the wrong side, didn't I? I'll just have to cover the macaw for a minute. And we'll switch that around because I want to share. Here we've got the card deck that I've been using is this one that's 150 pieces of cards, like it's 150 cards in here. It's called the Life Story Interview Kit. So you'd probably use this to take to your parents or family, friends type of situation. For someone, if you want to have them write their story, and I am going to make this a little bigger because I shrunk it down for a different type of screen sharing recently. So with this, it is using the cards. For those who have already seen me do some of these, I'm just going to put that there so you can see it in the background. And here we've got the in the end we'll all become stories. So it's using this set of cards as a guide to prompt memories, to prompt some writing. So this stack that we've got here I'll put underneath. So this one is the early life, so I'll just place them down as we put them on the table. Here we've got the bundle that is midlife. So we've been going through these pretty much as we've moved along these episodes, and here we've got the later life bundle, what's left of them. So I'll put them there because this is the number of cards that we've already worked through in what these what these particular card set has given us. So I've already worked through those. So we'll just do these because it's what I've come to do as part of this session. Okay, so what we've got as our early life, it's what was your favourite of the... Good heavens, that looks like a typo. It is. They're not the best quality cards, I can tell you. Even in their flimsy, they're not a very thick card. They're quite almost like a paper. I'd say they're probably even just a 120 GSM for those of you who know paper numberings as far as sizes, thicknesses. What was your favourite? I think it's meant to be, what was your favourite of the following during your teenage years? Gee, my camera's not doing too well. Music, TV, films, idol, heroes, celebrity or otherwise, books, magazines. So that's where you probably would do a bit of a brain dump on what you remember as being your favourite tools, favourite movies, music, books. I read books. I did watch TV a fair bit, but it was in the days when I was younger. It wasn't up to us as the kids to choose what was viewed on the TV. It was pretty much watching what Dad and Mum enjoyed. So there'd be a mix of some of the older movies and the westerns. I think we probably watched all of the John Wayne westerns as we went through life, and some of the Greta Gable and those older movies, Judy Garland's and lots of those types of beautiful movies, and they were well crafted and beautiful movies. I can't remember labels and titles and names of movies. It's just not me. So whatever it is that you remember of what was your favourites, I remember as far as the books that I read, Enid Blyton was the very first types I remember from visiting my grandma's house when we would be looked after if mum and dad were doing something and we'd be babysat, that word. I can remember staying overnight, so there was a set of books that Grandma had that was the Noddy books that we were allowed to read. I think they've been banned now, I just can't remember. But I loved them, and then as we started to learn to read for ourselves, I enjoyed not the famous five, I really enjoyed the Secret Seven. That was the series and the set that I remember reading mostly. And various other books that moved into I thoroughly enjoyed some of the science fiction that Isaac Asimov wrote, Fahrenheit 451, and some other things as well. There was a lot of different variety of books that I'd read because I just loved reading. And, sometimes with the TV, get home from school and it'd be the cartoons. It'd be the Bugs Bunnies and stuff like that, the Coyote and the Roadrunner, those sorts of things. So lovely things that I remember. How did I feel in watching them? Because it was entertaining and there was so much funny stuff with the cartoons. Really enjoyed it. But yes, I do a lot of reading and sometimes homework. So that's the early life I remember. What do you remember of your early life? And then we have our midlife question for today. It's how have you and your partner changed during your time together? And this is going to lead very nicely into some of what I'm going to do following this. So you certainly do change once whether you're married or you're in a de facto partnership or whatever way that friendship is for you. Loving, aggravated, sometimes it's just tolerance. Look, you just don't know. What has that partnership, how has it changed is the question, but what has it created for you as where you are now? How are you feeling about that? What trend was it moving through as that beginning of a relationship to the middle to where you are now? All of that can be quite a big question, really. Because for myself, I was married young. Harv and I did marry young, and we grew a business and moved through that. And, there was so much that was time spent building up that business and the work that took him away that eventually it's just something that changed for me in feeling neglected and, all of that I decided, look, you've got to put more time into us. And that just wasn't happening, so we ended up separating and divorcing. So that, as far as that change, was a big change over those years, because it was 33 years. Now he has passed. He had a tragic accident and was killed. But it's all of this that you can look at in your midlife. Have a look at it. See what other, because it could be so many different parts of just this one question. You're asking yourself, well, how have you changed? And it brings up so many different other parts of your relationship, the growth, the change, and all of the rest, to add more in of those memories of what is your story. And then we're going to have a look. Here we are. What do you most admire? Or who do you most admire? I wasn't even reading that question right, was it? So this is what we're at now. Who do you most admire? And they're more or less the brain dumping, really putting down still. We are still putting down lots of notes of what we're feeling might be included in our story as a memoir, because that's what I am sort of emphasising for this particular book Nook, the Mondays and the Thursdays, so that we can move through that. And I'm just going to say hi to Kerry. Lovely to see you here. I'm not sure if I quite like the colours that I've got with the background there or not. You might even suggest different themes for what I'm showing as this book Nook, as far as a live stream goes. Those colours, I'm not 100% sure about that. It looks a bit weird. yeah, that's a little bit the artist balance for colour for me. Anyway, who do you most admire? So there's another one that is a deeper question, because you start to wonder for yourself now, what about them is it that I admire? What specific? How do I feel when I'm in touch with them, or connecting with them? Having a phone call, or you're actually meeting up with them for. If it is your parents and you most admire them, and those family events that you might be sharing, especially as we're coming into Christmas. Is there a particular personality that's of high fame that you really admire a lot? See what you think, what is it that attracts you to them as a personality? What are their strengths? What weaknesses do they have? Are they cheeky? Are they, comedian? That type of, it's all sorts of different reasons why we do feel that energy connection with people, to really feel an admiration, because there are many people who've done wonderful things in the world, and you can certainly say, yes, I do admire that person. One that just flicked into my head was actually Queen Elizabeth, in the age she attained, in how long she was the Queen, and that public life that she was leading for all of that time in such a, well, I think an admirable way. And that's just my opinion. There's many who are not monarchists. I'm not labelling myself a monarchist or anything. I think as a person, she was absolutely an admirable woman in how she dealt with what, fell into her lap as part of her life. All the rest of it, it's not always roses for them, is it? So what I'm going to do, now that we've got these questions, I've got there for us today, I'm just going to place them aside like this so that I can write them down in my Scrivener. I showed you that on Sunday. I had my Scrivener folder there so that I could keep working on it myself, because I have every intention of working through these questions for myself, so that I'm more familiar with what we're doing as memoir writers, and gaining that is going to be a lot of information that we are then going to step through to sort out. Now, do you remember, I can't remember which episode it was, but what I was mentioning was using photos as part of our memory prompts and things like that. Now, you just heard me say with this second question, how have you and your partner changed during your time together? Here, you remember I mentioned photos, okay? And I was just happened to grab some of the photos that I have in a drawer. And this is, I haven't actually got the wedding photo. This is of the wedding. But here it is. I just had to, these just came out of the drawer I didn't know what photos were in there. But this is my most favourite little photo. It's just one of those little Kodak snap type things. This was just before we were married. We were still boyfriend, girlfriend. So it was the early days of getting to really enjoy each other's company. And it was just one of those evenings, afternoons that we were renting a house. Not we as in Harvey and I, it was my parents. I was still living with my parents then. And it was a house that we were renting while the farmhouse was being built new. The old house had been demolished and the new house was being built. So we rented a farmhouse just up the road. We were still dairy farmers at the time. And it brings me back to this time here at Oondaroo was the name of the property. And we were mucking around out in the yard because he was washing his car. And what Harvey had as his car was a red Charger with a black stripe down the middle, and it was spiffy and a wonderful car to drive. And it was really good fun to rock up at the local servo and getting out as a 16-year-old, from the driver's seat as a 16-year-old in a red Charger. It was a good feeling. So it brings back those memories. And this was an instance we were washing the car and we just got into a hose water fight, and it was absolutely fun. And the property there at Oondaroo, it was the first time we had some more spirit-based experiences with ghosties and stuff. And I was one that liked to try things out, and we tried a seance there, and Harvey had gone outside the kitchen window and run his fingers down the fly wire. Scared the shit out of everyone. We scattered really fast. Mum didn't know what was happening, and we just hid. Everyone in the kitchen had hidden. It was a separate room to the rest of the to the other rooms in the house. And yeah, she had squeals and screams and 5 girls scattering and hiding, and Harvey giggling his head off outside the kitchen window. I could have kicked him because it's a funny thing. I did see spirit and ghosts at that property a lot. So he really had disturbed us in what was going to be an interesting connection. So this was us in our early years, and here I have what is black and white photos of the outside of the church gathering for the wedding. That's my brother, his brother-in-law, sister-in-law with Cara, like so many different things. These were both red cars. It's very nice. It was an interesting day. Thoroughly loved it. There's a family grouping, the usual thing that you come up with family. My younger sister, friends, and that's the brother-in-law's, part of the family, definitely part of the family. And there's my dad. So the memories, when you go back over the photos and you sort of look at it and think, wow, brings memories back, start to jot them down. So there's more here, and it just goes through some of them. There's my dad again, love me dad. There's a cousin and an uncle and so many different family members. That was the mother-in-law, Harv's mum, that's his cousin. There's so many different memories. And there he is, there we are. And in these ones, I'm not in them very clearly at all. Not that it matters. And his dad there, long past, of course, Eddie's best mate. There's my twin sister as bridesmaid, and there we are as the group there. Oh, what do you call it? The wedding group. And that's my favourite photo of all of Harv. And I probably will get a little emotional on that one because it is my favourite. And it's just so sad he died so early. But it's things like that that bring back the memories. This was a trip, the one and only holiday we took took as a family, October 1987. Simon was a little tacker of 18 months. That's a good friend that we went to visit up in Northern Territory. And here we are riding camels up at Alice Springs. I think it was Alice Springs. And there's one of the gorges. So it just brings back memories just by having some photos scattered around. So get out your photos and have a look, see what you can write down as some of those things that bring back memories for you. Here's our favourite dogs, and it can be your favourite dogs. Now, these were painted by a lovely lady from photos that we had. I don't have the original paintings. They were, wherever they are now, I have no idea. Harvey had kept them in, after the divorce settlements and everything. So I don't know what happened to those because he did remarry. So here we've got gorgeous Bart. Bart was one of our favourite dogs. He was the first of the little mini foxies that we had, and he was so gorgeous. He was meant to be my dog when we first got the farm on Kangaroo Island. He was a tiny little puppy that you could hold in your hand. So he was no bigger as a puppy than my hand. And he was just so gorgeous. We tucked him in our shirt as we took him on the Sea Link ferry going across, because technically you weren't allowed to have your dogs on board, not on the cabin area. So there we go. Absolutely beautiful. So that was Bart. And here was Maggie, the other little dog. They did partner, we did breed from these two, and they were gorgeous little puppies. Maggie herself is just a pup there. She wasn't very old when we got her, and they made a gorgeous little couple and had their families. Beautiful doggies. So all of that method, see what you've got around that can help jog your memory to bring some of those life activities to life in your mind so that you can start to write them down. And one of the things that I'd encourage you to do is write as much detail as you can and how you felt at the time, just to, even if it's just seems inconsequential or not important, just write as much down as you can of each of those events that your memory's bringing forward for you, because you just don't know what is going to be needed later on when you start to actually compile the book into what's going to be your story. Okay, so thank you for being part of these beautiful photos. That's funny, Kerry. I think you're referring to the seance and having him run his fingernails down the fly screen. Oh, look, right at the time it wasn't funny, but I certainly did get visions of, something that wasn't quite human in my field of vision many times at that place. I just have to call them ghosts because it's what most people understand the energy as being is ghosts. So yes, I have seen ghosts and I have had that experience. It's where, as far as the psychic mediumship that I have grown and developed into, later in life. But hey, it's never too late to do anything. The same as writing down your stories. Put the things to paper because you don't want it to be too late. Because anything can happen in life, honestly. Write as much as you can do now, even if it's just to let your kids know or your grandchildren know. You don't have to put in a book, just have things written down so that it's bringing forward that perpetuity of memory, that is a bit of a legacy for your family, so that, who doesn't want to be understood? Who doesn't want to have some of their life remembered? Otherwise, what's the purpose? There's quite a few memes that go through a bit of that, Anyway, I won't dig into that one because I want to look at the positive. We are here to live a full life, and why not share the story of that full life of those who follow on behind us? So don't leave it too late till it is too late. And I have put the link to Boomer Press online there for you to have a look at the website. Certainly my contact details are there, and you can fill in a form that's there to just ask questions and register interest in having things looked at to what stage you're at so that we can help you even further. Thank you from myself and for Boomer Press. So I'll say good night and we'll see you Thursday about the same time.